Good afternoon, everyone. We made it through another year. Congratulations to us all. I'd like to welcome everyone to our 2026 annual SILC meeting. Dawn, would you do roll call?
Sure. Julie Weissman-Steinbach,
Present.
Sarah McWhirter-Clark,
I'm here.
Margaret Marcucci,
I'm here.
Linda Voda. I don't think she's present. Ace Patrick,
Present.
Dee Dee Bormaster,
Present.
Mark Tatter, I know he's here. Mark Tatter.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Sheena Childers,
Here.
Randall Owen,
Here.
and Lori Lutu. I think Autumn Blattman was going to be here in her place, but I don't know if she's here yet. I don't see her. But we do have quorum.
Okay. Next is public comment. Dawn, can you read?
Sure. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. To provide public comment telephonically, dial 1-253-215-8782. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, enter 929-904-1434 and passcode 707401. Comments will be allowed at the beginning and end of each day and will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Persons making comments will be asked to begin by stating their name for the record and to spell their last name and provide the secretary with written comments.
Is there any public comment? I don't see.
I don't see any either.
Here we go. I'm on.
Is there any public comment? Okay, let's see. We're gonna move on. I hope everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from our April meeting. Are there any corrections? I need a motion to accept the minutes.
This is Margaret Marcucci for the record. I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Any second?
This is Ace Patrick. I second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. And we're moving on to number 4. Is there anybody present who would like to introduce themselves for consideration to join talk. Really? So we're gonna move on. Now we have a presentation from the Futures Coalition and Accessible Bodies Initiative. Can I invite Travis to begin his presentation?
Travis Mizrael. Did I pronounce your name right? This is Dawn Lyons.
Yeah, Miserable. Yeah, sorry.
Mizrael. I'm just letting you know that the chair has said that you may go ahead with your
Oh, sorry.
presentation. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm just trying to get set up here. I am pretty much ready here. Okay, I'm gonna present. Okay, you can see the PowerPoint, correct? Good. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so hi everyone. So I'm Travis Mizrael from Futures Now Coalition, or Think. So basically we're here to talk about how we can kind of work together as communities. So just pretty much from the start of it, Think was born, like I came up with Think about 4 years ago, and it's really a question I was asking myself is like, what's the greatest common denominator connecting the many issues that a lot of us share? And this is both the disabilities communities as well as like virtually everyone. We're just kind of try to bring everything to the core problem of like people not feeling represented. Um, and so I wanted to open up to your guys' community in Nevada. I'm in New Jersey, but also part of the disabilities community, and we wanted to bring you guys in as potential people to be part of our pilot community. Um, and this is so pretty much as I go through this, we're gonna talk about like the fundamental problem going on in the country right now, and how specifically this community is hit one of the hardest, and what our plan is to kind of help empower these communities like yourselves to have better representation in government. Um, so right now, it's, a lot of people feel it that the current system just very uh, just not working out for most people. People of all political stances, different. It's not about left and right. It's just everyone feels like we're kind of heading in the wrong direction overall, and this is arguably over like the last like 10 years or even longer. Um, so there's a real cultural moment happening right now where just people are like, we got to do something better. There's got to be a better way than where we're at right now, how we do things right now. And so that's really what we're trying to tap into and find, kind of bring a new solution, a new way to do things. And it's not about specific policies. It's really about bringing true representation to America, bringing accountability to government, and better transparency. So at its core, what the key problem that we articulate to people is what we call the middleman. So there's three main middlemen that sit between you and the people that could actually represent you. So that's big money, which is like the donors, super PACs, just general corporate money, and those with the most concentrated amount of money can influence government. and policies. Number two is party gatekeepers. Those that are in power keep in power, and they're in control of who gets elected to a large extent. And so they have a lot of the power of access for any candidates of who can win, what policies are going to get pushed through. The gatekeepers are a big influence on that, obviously. And then the third one is media manipulation, that, there's a concentration of media that controls narratives, and there's left-leaning media, right-leaning media, but a lot of it, almost all of the biggest ones are corporate interests and big money interests, and they might be left or right or a mix, but they're always on kind of on the side of that concentration of power and influence. So in a nutshell, money, access, and visibility is what all candidates need, these three things, in order for them to have visibility. And that is the key reason why people are not being represented and that the best leaders are not getting elected. It's because of this concentration of power, and because people need these three things they need basically approval from these three different categories of middleman in order to gain visibility and ultimately win. It's not 100% of the candidates, but it's like close. It's 95% more that they have to be kind of toe the line and be in with these three sections. So this is the big hole in our system, and exactly what Think exists to help fill. So we're building a civic infrastructure that is aimed at cutting out the middleman and evolving the way we choose our leaders. It's not by picking specific sides. It's about making sure every candidate can be seen and every citizen can be heard. And so ultimately, we believe that democracy and the issues that everyone here cares about specifically would move in the right direction if we had better leaders in government that you could actually hold accountable those that actually have the intention to do what's right for their voters and not be so beholden on the concentration of power. And as I've been emphasizing, so we are just the referee at Think. We're not a player. We're not here to tell you specifically who to vote for, whether to vote left or right. That's not where we play. Our role is building this level playing field and building this better way that gives the right candidates a better chance. It's ultimately like if the candidates don't need to sell themselves to the middleman and they actually gain visibility without that need, it starts cutting out, like, it allows them to actually represent you and average voters rather than big donors. So as we say, we may not have all the answers, but we offer a better way to find these answers and a better way to surface the solutions that exist out there. Like, we believe there's better answers of healthcare and social issues and pretty much everything. There's better answers, and people have solutions. But the fact is that as long as the status quo and concentration of power exists, it's going to prevent those solutions from surfacing, because if it's going to hit somebody's profits and they're somebody that has a lot of money for influence, it's not going to reach the finish line. So with this, I also want to emphasize, like, I am part of the disabilities community. I'm autistic. So I do know what it's like. I've struggled with unemployment and issues of generally being able to fit in with the larger world around us. So like I literally have a kind of unique situation, like in on one side, like, to a normal circumstances, I can come off as, mentally disabled to some extent. But on the flip side, I can build a complete organization together. I have over 20 people on the team with me volunteering at this stage, putting this dream together. We have graphic designers, marketing people, outreach people. So, and, creating all these operations. So there's like all this stuff I can do, but then at the same time, from society standards, I don't fit the normal mold. And without creating my own environment where I can actually flourish based on what I built, I could actually be on disability the rest of my life. So I absolutely identify as part of this community. Again, I'm not part of Nevada specifically, I'm New Jersey, but in terms of disability, and definitely autism, I'm right there. Um, and in general, our organization is heavily neurodiverse. We have people autistic, ADHD, other disabilities. So that in and of itself, we're kind of building an organization that is more conducive to neurodiversity and general disability ability, and able to function. We have unique operations that allow for to work with people of various skills and capabilities. Um, and Yeah, so by design, you guys, all of us, we've been left out on the way the system is designed right now. The middleman doesn't just block the candidates, it blocks whole communities, and a lot of people see that especially these days, if not always. Um, and one of the problems is for most communities, including the disability community, is if you don't have big money, you can't be represented, like, or almost completely can't be represented. Um, so even though there's millions of you, millions of us, with this rigged system, if you don't have a lobby and you don't have like tons of money in a concentrated power, then you're not really going to get represented. And so even if we have raw numbers proving that this large percentage of people want something, it's not enough to put the right pressure on as it stands right now with the way the system is today. So we specifically call it like rigged, not broken, in the sense that works for those that are in power, it works for those at the top, but for 85, 90% of America, it's not working, and working less and less by the day. And so ultimately the issues is a lot. The main issue that we address is about money and politics and the fact that you have to pay just to be heard. So sometimes even like I've been talking to different community members, and some people, you have just to get on disability benefits or be deemed disabled, sometimes you need to spend money, you need a lawyer. It's just very hard. It's like you need to have money to prove who you are. And the system in general, just you need money to kind of almost get to anything. And, that is a humongous barrier for a lot of people, including this community. Um, Unfortunately right now, what, moves politicians isn't about like the fact that millions of people might need something. It's really about public pressure, like political pressure. So it's unfortunate where we live right now, but it's not about what you need. It's about whether you can pressure them. Um, and so, the question is, can you help them win or can you help them lose? That's the game that we're in right now. It's a lot very, left versus right. And then, in the primaries, it's a little more complex. But Americans across the board agree that we just need better leaders, and just generally the system isn't working for the average person. Um, so what we're bringing to the floor is really accessible activism. Um, we call it digital politics. It's like a new way to capitalize on the digital age and the technology that exists today to basically turn a community into a voting block, more concentrated, so that the policies that we all need to live comfortably in this world can actually get pushed forward. And so it's using kind of digital means to create that public pressure on the politicians and have new ways that are feasible for average people, especially a disabled community, to be able to get the representation they need. Like right now with the way activism exists today, it's like you have to show up in person, marching, protests. You have to do a lot. It's very social. You have to, work a crowd and get people in. And a lot of us don't have, either physically or mentally don't have that ability. I could be socially awkward, and I wouldn't be able to just go into a neurotypical crowd and start getting people's attention. I have unique ways of communicating that can limit me in a lot of circumstances. Um, so for a lot of our community, that's a huge wall, and so a lot of this community can't participate in democracy because of its kind of outdated nature of being very physical and very social. And so the digital age opens up a world of potential, and yet uh, it's not been we haven't reached that potential. So, social media could do wonderful things. A lot of people see it as doing negative things at the moment, but there's so much great potential that the digital age can offer. The internet, just digital tools. There's just so much that could actually help our society, and instead, right now, it's just feeding that concentration of power. Um, so digital politics ultimately is there to tear the walls down. We could build real political power from your phone, from, on your own terms, on your own time, in your own space. And that's what we're calling accessible activism. Um, really, if imagine if like 5 minutes a day, maybe once or twice a week, there's like a couple actions you can do on your phone, but it actually brings public pressure in the direction of what you need, your needs as a disabilities community, needs as just an average American, just everything that average people need. Doesn't have to be something that you spend hours and hours putting energy in and money in. We're our goal is to make it something that's like small but still has a great impact. And again, most of this all just boils down to being able to give accountability to the candidates and really showing them that there's a consequence. That if you don't do what X million people are asking for, there's going to be a consequence. It's going to hurt your next election. It's going to hurt something. It's going to hurt your campaign in some fashion. Um, and right now, when we're trapped with lesser of two evils mentality, it's kind of like, one party might think that they already, you got that people owe them, and that, oh, well, the other side's worse than me, so there's nothing you're going to do about it. And so we want to get beyond that and beyond specific parties, and get more to the policies you care about, and tying that there's a consequence. It might start in the primaries. A lot of what we're doing is opening more focus on the primaries, opening the concepts of independent and third party candidates, having more power. We're not here to force it in a specific direction. We just want to level the playing field and allow for different possibilities than what we've been trapped in recent days. Um, And so, so just in a nutshell, old activism has not been built for us, and digital activism just has this mountain of potential for people physically disabled, mentally disabled, just regular people that are socially awkward, introverted. I mean, really, anyone. It basically it's to be able to be accessible for everyone. That's really the bottom line. Um, so again, this is all about like turning your community into a voting block, not around a party, it's around specific policies that you actually care about. And when you're able to move together, you stop being ignored and become a force for candidates that can't afford to lose you. If you're showing that like X amount of people want this policy, for example, and if they don't provide that, there's going to be a consequence in a future election that speaks to them. And so a lot of what we're doing is with that at the heart of like, how can we digitally bring people to like be clear voting blocks, but also like a clear demand of what people want, as well as with that demand, like a consequence tied to that. So that, because again, the candidates, unfortunately, especially the ones that are actually elected, don't usually care about the good of all of us. They care about getting elected. And so, unfortunately, for now, that's kind of the game that we have to play, be part of, not totally 100%, but somewhat be part of it, while also trying to transcend it into something better, where better candidates that actually care about us rise to the top. Um, So the big tool for this specifically is called civic tags on our system. So civic tag is just kind of just a simple label for that represents the issues you care about. You we're building this right now. Candidates can create a profile and they could share what tags that they are part of. Within the next about like month-ish, we're gonna have it where citizens can also sign in, follow, and like specific tags, and really start kicking off the citizen side of this, especially specific communities to really embrace this. So ultimately, the tags represent policy stances, and so it's basically there's so many applications of this. One of it's matchmaking, where like you could look at a candidate, you'll be able to see, are they for employment first, are they for accessible housing, are they for Medicaid protections. So it starts simplifying how to know, like, what does this candidate actually stand for, and kind of pushes them to put the specifics on the stage, because we all have seen it. Candidates can be very vague about what they support, and like and you don't really know, and then when push comes to shove on when they're actually elected, they don't usually fulfill all the promises that you felt they wanted to give us. So we've all seen that kind of thing. So these tags are a way of like adding clout for citizens to put energy into a specific tag, as well as see what tags the candidates care about. So this is part of the vision that we have of what digital politics can do. A lot of it's like hashtags, the way hashtags work today, that a certain topic can go viral overnight. Millions of people can start using a hashtag literally like within a 24-hour period that didn't exist before. And so kind of utilizing that capability is part of this, but making it more of something that's both political, but also like has actual political weight to it, not just something that just floats as like a trend. But so that these tags in general can show how many people care about certain things. So like you see on the screen here, there's umbrella tags. Like, at the end of the day, we all want disability rights as a broad umbrella, but then there's specific policies, and then some of us might like certain policies over others, but it still adds clout to the highest umbrella tag as well. And then like as you go lower in, it might get more niche, and certain people care about certain tags more than others. But like this is all about gathering that data. The more people utilize this system on some of this that we've already rolled out on the Digital Politics Hub, gathers this data immediately, shows how many people care about different tags. And once we get a substantial number of people utilizing this, then it really has political weight, both weight on like these specific issues as well as digital politics as a whole. And like as this community does the disability rights, another community does something with healthcare, another one is with social issues, like anything across the board. All of it pools into the same weighting of like pushing us towards this newer, better system of accountability, transparency, and true representation without having to pay for it. So ultimately, we're building these tools. We're not here to say which specific policies to follow. Like I just put some of these on the list of what a lot of people in this community care about, but it's really up to your community to decide which tags matter, and and then ultimately people can decide which tags they support individually as individual people. And then all of this gets weighted into the tagging system. Yeah, so everything turns this all turns the numbers into weight. So that's ultimately the mechanics here. So this could really start pretty much now if enough people, like if this really resonates with people listening right now, and help this grow. Our team has been building this, the tech side of it, the outreach side, marketing side. We're big on social media engagement and digital engagement, but we really need to get in with the communities and test this out, see what works, what doesn't, what how do we get clear on what this might look like, and just we want to work with different pilot communities, and this is one of the ultimate first pilot communities that could really embrace what we're doing. And so kind of in a nutshell with the tags, the way that will work is like you spread the word about, right now we have a survey to fill out where you could start giving us ideas of which tags you care about, and we have to build kind of a hierarchy of tags that go under the disability rights umbrella. Um, so right now it's just about talking to the communities, bringing people in, getting them to add their name that they want to be part of what we're doing. We're going to start doing virtual focus groups. There's some just basic questionnaires that could really help us. There's ways to join our Discord. We want to do a specific Discord channel to build the community, a specific community space for disabled rights. And so just adding the tags and be able to we just kind of need like a back and forth communication. What is working? What's resonating? What do we need to build out? We have our tech team needs to prioritize. So this helps us prioritize what matters most and has the best impact for groups like yourselves. And then really the tags, ultimately the numbers are going to add up, that the tags we'll start crossing a threshold of supporters, especially in a concentration. If we're doing it like a lot of people in one state, that has more weight than like a lot of people but spread out nationwide. So, we've been focusing a lot this year on Nevada. So, even like 10,000 people, it could be a huge amount of weight for like, and even just beyond one specific topic, but just using something like this and using this as a way to shift the system in a more evolved, more digitally focused way. And then that's where the candidates will feel it. Once we start really showing the numbers, our team does a lot with social media PR, and as we get more communities on board with us, we're going to be interviewed by media. Right now I'm on a lot of different podcasts, small time podcasts, but I've been on like 30 of them in the last year or so. And they're all excited about this. So the more we can show communities biting on this, resonating and engaging with us, that gives us the clout to grow this, scale it by gaining more and more attention. That's kind of the only piece we're missing right now, is more clout of like citizens actually joining in and wanting to be a part of this, no matter how small. And then that also then turns into candidate weight. We've already been talking to different candidates around both Nevada and nationwide. And once we could show more citizen engagement, like we have a lot of open doors right now, and we just need to show that communities are resonating. And the more they resonate, then the candidates will actually walk through the door more and actually spend more time engaging through our system. And this is an issue, like there's been 30 different political social networks that have come and gone in the last decade. And the problem is always about buy-in and basic, specifically citizen buy-in. And it's like candidates won't use these systems because the citizens aren't there. And then the citizens aren't there because there's not much purpose to be there. So this is the purpose of true representation, empowering a community, turning communities into voting blocks. So that's what's different between us and all the tech companies that existed before. We're not a tech company. We're people first. We're a movement. We're all about the end result is about truly giving true representation to the people and overcoming this concentration of power and money. So we're the first to have a deeper purpose of why you should be on this platform, basically. Um, so so the data, data does speak to the current system, and so that's a huge part of this and the tags and everything. Um, um, oh, sorry, go ahead, Don. You have a question.
Yeah, thanks. This is Dawn Lyons. I just wanted to ask, just to be clear, when you were going over the different tabs and how the umbrella tab was the disability concerns or disability issues, that's just one example, right? There's other tags, there's other umbrella tags, there's other things that everybody could be interested in, not just that, but I just wanted to make sure that I was clear on that and that you guys, that we can create those, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let me clarify that real quick. Yeah. Um, yeah, this is just a tiny example. I mean, there's literally endless different directions that this could go. We're right now the main thing that we're kind of figuring out is like doing kind of like a 2 or 3 tier of like there should be kind of like an umbrella tag and then smaller tags. So like for example, like employment first or Medicaid expansion, like those are like the sub tabs, but we want to also umbrella them onto a higher up kind of a tag. But what we created is not set in stone. It is what we do definitely want feedback on. And even forever after, like citizens can create their own tags, candidates could create their own tags. So this will be a forever evolving system. And it goes way beyond just like there's disability rights. There could be somebody that's like completely outside a different community about, healthcare, social justice issues, debt relief, like yeah, just anything you could think of pretty much in politics. And like we have to be neutral, but it could also be more things that are, perceived as more partisan, but like we're just building the tools, but everyone, the people can be partisan and however they need to be on that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, great question. Um, so yeah, the data is super important. So we just need like we just need to interact with more communities to figure out like how to really flesh out these different tags. Maybe I'm completely off my predictions of like, is disability rights at the top, or is that like, are there other umbrella tags? Because the thing that we want to do, the thing that's important is like, today's society is very quick to differentiate ourselves, like almost too much. But the problem with democracy that actually prevents democracy from having teeth is that because we always differentiate ourselves too much, that also splits up our resources, our voting power. So we want to build a system that both allows everyone to differentiate themselves, but at the end of the day can still kind of consolidate things into like categories. Like for example, like healthcare, like, some could say there's like 15, 20 different ways of doing healthcare. There's very specific variants. But at the end of the day, like, why don't we just put 3 different camps? You either want like a Medicare for all kind of a system, you want something that's completely private, but as a way to drive down the pricing, or and maybe there's a middle option of like, private plus public option. So we want to do it like at the top that there'd only be a handful of choices but then allow it to differentiate when you get lower in. Um, so that's how democracy gains teeth is that, even if people are like, oh, well, I want this kind, that kind, whatever, like we still want that number at the top to have real weight. So it's not diluted. And so it allows people to organize in that in a specific variant, but then when it comes to walking up to a senator, they're like, hey, we care about, universal health care. 10,000 of us want this kind of version, 15,000 want that kind of version. But at the end of the day, all of us want something. And if you're not going to support that something, all these people are going to vote against you and not support you anymore. So that's kind of how we want to do this of like allowing differentiation while also aggregating and consolidating the voting, the different ideas into like very clear boxes to become voting power. So all this is a lot of this is about data and turning like what people need and want into data. So some of this is with the tags. We're also very carefully playing with AI as like I know we understand AI is very controversial, so we're very careful in ourselves of how much we're getting involved with that. Um, but we do like to use AI to convert open-ended concerns into like aggregated clear data. So like one of the main parts of our hub ask 3 open-ended questions of like, what do you care about in your community? And like, what's the number one thing you'd want a politician to represent you on? And the idea is completely open-ended. It could be nationwide, it could be very local, it could be about the playground that's getting knocked down the street. We want to be able to allow people to have open-ended things like feedback that they provide, but then we use AI that even if 10 million people said something, AI can aggregate that information and say, oh, well, out of 10,000 answers, like this many people are talking about healthcare concerns, this many people are talking about very local issues. So we want to use AI to allow people to have more open-ended questionnaires. A lot of the political surveys today forces everyone in a box. You have to answer a multiple choice. And so that one of these options of what we're doing is allowing completely open-ended concerns to be thrown at us. It could be 10 million people saying all sorts of different things, and we'll build ways that AI can create aggregated data that makes sense to turn it into power. So that's a big part of what we're doing. And then with this data, we become a megaphone. Part of this is the tags. Some of it's open ended. Some of it's just opening. Like we have a section to share your story. Like we want to hear people's personal pain points. How does the system not been working for you? What's your deepest pain points? We want to hear the stories and use that, like amplify it. It could be completely anonymous. Like we just want to show like how many people are concerned about different things and really show a story of America and the consensus of what people's pain and what they're going through in today's society. Um, and again, like our one of our big pieces of what we would be always doing is getting social media attention and general PR attention, even just starting with independent media, podcasters, and working our way up. But these stories, it's kind of almost like we're constantly advocating for all of America, and like every feedback, every data point that people can throw our way will be used to get them represented in the way that they always should have been in a true democracy. So that's kind of the megaphone piece to it. And so again, this is not about policy. This is not about party. This is not partisan in the way we're doing this. It's really civics. It's not politics. It's civics. Obviously everything evolves, it like turns into politics, but at its core, it's the system itself that we're addressing right now. Um, and as we call it, it's not left versus right. It's really up versus down, as we call it. So like up is those that serve power. They take the big money. They have conflicts of interest, and they ultimately um, forget you once they're elected. They don't care about you until next election. It's unfortunate and horrible, but a reality. And and then the down serving candidates are like the grassroots candidates. Usually they take small dollar donations. They're very transparent. They are accountable to their promises, and they actually show up for the people. They tend to have more volunteers than others. Um, and so that's the kind of the metric that we're in. And every time we talk to people, communities, we're been building our own podcasts, our social media. We're always talking about just adding this up-down lens. Like it's okay if somebody is a Republican or a Democrat, that's not for us to touch. It's really adding this layer of up versus down. Like, okay, you're a Democrat, that's great, but when you're looking at your candidates, like really check the intention of the candidate. Are they really there to serve you, or are they there to serve their donors? And it's hard to rationalize, oh, well, the other party's doing worse, but like we're just lowering the bar like more and more. And like the bar is just so low of like what it means to serve the people. And so that has to be raised. And most people believe it needs to be raised. And it's just, we got to stop playing by the rules and change the game, essentially. So we want a lot of everything that we're doing, a lot of what we're doing is about defining this yourself. You keep your own views, you could stay loyal to your own needs. Like the biggest thing is really caring about, like really know what policies you want. Some people just blindly vote D down the line or R down the line. We really need to look at, like, are they actually, like, don't assume they're going to fight for the issues you care about most. You got to zoom in a little bit more, um, and really see, like, because both parties are not really serving the average people, and so that needs to be addressed. And just voting for somebody because the other side's worse is just not working anymore. Um, and we have decades of plans, all these different solutions. I know there's a lot of layers to what we're doing right now. It's actually the biggest challenge is articulating all the layers. But like we're factoring so much that if we could just get the right buy-in and really start engaging directly with more citizens and get the feedback of what makes sense to you guys, what's too confusing, is actually going to tremendously help us evolve this and scale it and grow. Um, and the vision of what we want for the future is really, finding matching you with the candidates that actually fight for you. There's so many great candidates that would run and would win, like teachers, veterans, small business owners, people with disabilities, people running because they care. Um, and like a lot of them run like less and less these days, but it's because the system is so unfair. If you're a good-hearted person and you want to help your community, but then you learn that for me to become the governor or whatever, even something smaller, oh, I'm gonna have to, sell out to these big donors so I have enough funding there, and I have to sell out to the party leader of my state because they'll basically shun me, and I have to, all these compromises happen again and again, and just so many compromises. And at the end of the day, then, like, those that are the good-hearted people, it's almost not worth, you have to compromise so much that it just cuts us out. It cuts the good people out. Um, so our end game is really like cutting out the middleman and guaranteeing every candidate has a chance to be heard. Beelining, building one-stop shop, all citizens in one place, all candidates in one place. Citizens being able to say, like, hey, this is my zip code, and we show these are all the candidates running. These are their funding sources, so you can see their conflicts of interest. These are their promises, and then this is how consistent they are in their promises. So really streamlining accountability and transparency and having all this information right at your disposal. And we don't have that today, to be clear, but it's not that complicated. We just need to get the right clout first and like really get the momentum growing. And again, people are so desperate for change right now. Most people feel like you could turn on like any like podcast, anything, everyone talking in this world are talking about how things are not working. And like, yes, we blame different things, different people, different parties, but most people feel like things are not working. And we have seen that our movement, people, Republican, Democrats love what we're doing, socialists, anarchists, libertarians. We have people all over the spectrum that are really resonating with what we're doing. And we're just missing this one piece where we just have to keep learning from a community and have more of a feedback loop of like if I do it this way, is it better? Is it worse? Like kind of see what's resonating with everyone. Part of it's also being as concise as possible. That's not my strength. My team's working on that part, but this can grow exponentially. It's just this initial stage needs the right people, the right support, the right feedback, the right conversations with average people out there. And ultimately, you guys, you become the magnet. Those joining in, just adding your name to the hub, just adding your name in support shows real demand for a different type of politics, for better candidates to come to join the digital politics hub to reach you. Again, we have a system where like candidates now can go to our hub and create a profile. The problem is they're not motivated yet because we need to get the citizens on there, and that's that chicken or the egg problem that I was mentioning earlier. That every company that's done it or something even remotely like this, it's just like this chicken or the egg problem. But we have the difference is that we're people first and all about communities, And like everyone that's tried it is just purely tech. We're building a tool and oh, everyone will just love this tool because we built it. Here we want to actually do this with you, build this with you, have your DNA in the core of what we're building. Um, but as there's a demand, soon as we just show even like couple tens of thousands of people, like that starts already being significant clout, and then candidates will start flocking more and more, and then everything starts feeding each other, and things can start growing more exponentially. Um, and in a nutshell, we want to match make you to the candidates that actually want to represent you. And it technologically is easy. It's all about the buy-in. It's all about getting citizens involved and showing that you would pay attention, that if a candidate did come to the system, you would look at it. And it's even like, you don't have to spend hours all the time. It's like, once a year, every election, we would have a very simple way to match make people, the average person, to the right candidates. But then also there's going to be things that like those that are more advocating and more politically involved can do things, year round every year. But the average person, if they don't want to do much, it's like, well, at the very least, you'll use our tool right before you're going to make a vote, and we'll help you match to the right person. And so it doesn't have to end on election day. We like part of this is a big part of this is accountability, holding them to their promises. Um, and yeah, go ahead, Don. I know I'm almost done here, and that's been a
I'll
bit
let you
rough.
finish if you want. I was just going to ask you, how do we get on board? How do we start this? Just if you could put it in
Yeah.
the chat, or, if you want me to send an email, I could do that. Just let me know.
Yeah, sure. So in general, our site is hub.futures.org that I just shared in the chat. Specifically today, we'd like you to do there's a questionnaire specifically for your community that we would love for you to fill out. And that is this tally link that I just shared. So this asks just people like it asks like, would you want to be part of a focus group, like different things that you might want to participate in, some of the policies that you care about most, any feedback on these tags, things like that. But yeah, I apologize. I know it's going a little bit longer than I anticipated, but just have a couple slides left. I'll finish up here. But yeah, so accountability is a huge part of this. And like really we want to build like ultimately is building a system that the citizens are empowered, civic infrastructure. We literally are building it with a legal system where every American can opt into an equal ownership stake of this technology we're talking about. So Fink isn't even going to own it. We're like kind of building this prototype, but once we really get on our feet, we're literally going to gift it to America. We want every American, like basically you either get one share or you have no shares. You can't have more than one share. A millionaire can't buy any extra shares. Everyone can only have one share. So it's like truly democratic at its core. So it never can be swayed in a negative light. And so, building this as like the like official place for politics in the future. So yeah, so again, we just need you guys to need some community members to really help us on this. Just again, what resonates, what doesn't, and the momentum is like all we need is that credibility. Like again, we have tech building out, we have all these different plans, all these strategies, and we just need to get that credibility ball rolling. And so this would be one of the first communities, and I think it's a perfect community for us because like our own team is very connected with everyone. We're all the same similarities, autism, disabilities, other things. So I just feel like, especially the neurodiversity thing, I could have a whole tangent on that of like how the whole organization is structured in a neurodiverse way that works for like no matter where like the different mindsets are still we have a way to be adaptable to the different mindsets on our team and stuff like that. Um but yeah, so it's basically really you guys are the ones that lead. We're just handing tools there. We could create like email templates, like Dawn, like you just mentioned earlier. If we want to do like kind of a follow-up email, get more people that you have on the email list to fill out that tally survey, see who wants to participate in like the virtual focus groups. Um, we want to show different tech that we could potentially build. Because like right now, while we're limited, the best thing is focusing on it's prioritizing. We have a small tech team, but we can build stuff. We just want to focus on like what would have the most impact is key. But we could create email templates pretty quickly, brochures, one pagers. We have graphic designers, video editors. We're very big on social media. So if anyone that wants to collaborate on social media that can help us like do a collaboration that could get a lot of views, where we could build carousels and videos and stuff like that. Um, as well as communicate through Discord. We have our own Discord, and we'd be happy to go to other Discords that we could talk to other members. We just again need to get the word out to average citizens of all persuasions, and get that feedback loop going. And so this is the final slide here is so the main thing is joining the community. That the tally link is like a survey for this specific community in Nevada. Feel free to share that link to everyone in everyone in your community. Could be even beyond Nevada. Because we asked for the zip code, so we'll know locations. Go ahead, Don.
Is there a contact link that you would like to put, or a contact email that you would like to put in the chat as well, so that if anyone else on this council would like to request more information or talk to you more about it in person, that they could do that?
Yes, perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
That's great. Great question. Yeah. Yeah. So again, the main thing is this tally thing, but again, like we just need a little bit of like, if you're like, oh, I'm going to email these people. Do you have like, if you give us the context, we could build almost anything. Like you want a brochure, a presentation, whatever you guys need. It's almost like I don't know what people need, so I don't like. But if we knew, we have writers. We have a lot of people that can put stuff together. We just need to learn what would be the best way to put things together. But yeah, so that's all of it. I apologize. I know I probably over explain a bit. That's part of my autism, but I'm hoping this was not too torturous. And the highlights are resonated well with people. But yeah, we're very reachable. So absolutely email us is great. If you go on our Discord,
Wait, I'm getting knocked on and off, and it's been acting like that all day long.
Margaret, you're not muted.
yeah, you're not muted.
Thank you.
But yeah, so just finishing up. Yeah, so yeah, we're very very open to communication, and so please reach out and let us know what we could do, feedback, all that good stuff. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you. This was really exciting.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, this is Dawn Lyons. Travis, thank you so much for explaining this to us all and coming here and presenting your idea. This is a fabulous idea. I've been excited about it since you first told me about it, and I'm so glad you could share with this group. And I've actually had some feedback behind in private messages telling me, wow, this is really amazing, and oh, I'm so excited about this. And so, even if people aren't speaking up right now, I know they are really excited about it. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I don't always get the feedback. I don't know if everyone's sitting there bored or whatnot. So that's good to know. I appreciate that. Cool. Thank you.
This is Ace Patrick. Travis, thank you again for the presentation. I echo what Don said. I was looking at your website too while you were giving your presentation. It looks pretty good. So thank you again. I'm definitely going to look over everything that you've sent us with links, and it's an exciting project that you've taken on. So a lot of work too.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Any more questions?
Yeah, any other questions or anything before I leave?
I don't see any more, but Travis, this is Dawn Lyons one more time. I just wanted to express my thanks and say, If you want me to post something on our news feed, on our website, I'd be happy to do that. Just send me what you'd like me to put on there. And I can also blast anything out by email as well. So
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely get back to you on that. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you again, Travis. I think I'd like to speak as Timothy Craig. But let's come back at 2:10. Let's resume on now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Nominations and voting for chair and vice chair. Let's start with chair. Are there any nominations?
hey, Julie, this is actually something that as executive director, I go ahead and I facilitate.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's been a year.
I know. Okay.
Okay. I turn this over to Dawn.
Thanks, Julie. Dawn Lyons. I am going to take this one position at a time, just like Julie was going to start. And so we'll start with, are there any nominations for the chair position?
This is Ace Patrick. I'd like to nominate Julie for the position.
Thank you, Ace.
This is Saber McWhorter Clark. I would also like to nominate Julie for the position.
Okay, anyone else?
I'm not so on the list except the nomination.
Awesome. So I guess if there are no other nominations, we can go ahead and have a roll call vote. If that's, I think we need to vote regardless of whether or not we have anyone else. So, Julie Weissman-Steinbach,
I am Steve.
Saber you don't have to. Just saying, you can vote for yourself.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Saber McWhorter Clark,
Yes.
Margaret Marcucci,
Yes, till we go off the air again. Up.
who's sharing their screen?
What is that?
Oh, Mark, okay.
Yes.
Let me see if I can stop sharing your screen for you. Oh, there you go. Thanks.
All right. Yes, I vote yes.
Thank you. Dee Dee Formaster, you having trouble unmuting, Dee Dee? Come back to Dee Dee. Ace Patrick,
I vote yes.
thank you. Linda Vejvoda is absent. And last one is Dee Dee Formaster.
Yes.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Okay, unanimously, Julie, you are once again chair of our SILC.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now moving on to vice chair position. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Ace Patrick.
Great. Anyone else? Hearing none, I will do a roll call vote for Ace Patrick as vice chair. Julie Weissman Steinbach,
Yes.
Sabra McWhirter Clark,
A hearty yes.
Margaret Marcucci, if she doesn't have too many technical difficulties.
No, I vote yes, 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 yes.
Thanks, Margaret. Ace Patrick.
Yes.
Great. Dee Dee Formaster
Yes.
and Mark Tatter.
Yes, of course.
Another unanimous vote for Ace as vice chair for the SILC. Congratulations, Ace.
Oh, thank you all.
Congrats.
So now that we have our elected chair and vice chair, are there any nominations for officers for the treasurer position and or the secretary position for the SILC?
I nominate Margaret for treasurer.
Okay. And if you'd like to remain, you may also state that as well, and we will go ahead and allow Julie to make the ultimate decision at the end. So does anyone else have any nominations or would like to state who they would like to see as treasurer or secretary?
This is Ace. I nominate Margaret for treasurer as well.
Thank you.
And then I nominate Sarah for treasurer. I mean secretary.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Secretary.
But her term ends in October. So if anyone else is interested, speak up.
So Sabra's term ends in October or her final term for SILC ends in October. So there will be need to be another secretary appointed at that time if there is no other nominations and appointments at this time other than Sabra. So are there any other nominations for now? Okay, so we've got nominated, just to be sure that these nominees are in agreement with their nominations. Sabra, are you in agreement with your nomination as secretary for until you term out?
Yes, and thank you.
Thank you. And Margaret Marcucci, are you in agreement with your nomination for treasurer until next year?
Yes, I am.
In that case, Julie, it is up to you to make the appointments.
I appoint Margaret Mitchell as treasurer and Sarah McCarthy Clark as secretary. Thank you for your assistance.
And congratulations, all of you, and thank you so much for keeping our council together.
Yeah, it's gonna be another great year. We're gonna do that as soon as I can. Please check.
So this is Dawn Lyons. I think you just asked me to do the updates for the Youth Action Council, right? Is that what you said?
I have to move my screen so I can see the agenda. Okay.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Give me a sec. Okay. Here we go. we're on item 7, and we're gonna start with the Youth Action Committee.
Thank you. This is Dawn Lyons, and as you know, I have been facilitating the Youth Action Council meetings lately. We did skip July's meeting, but up until then, and on tomorrow evening, we'll be meeting every second Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. is what we all decided would work best for our schedules. And lately, we've been going over some of the, well, to be honest with you, Calvin and I presented I'm sorry, I'm drawing a total blank. I'll come back to that. But we were planning on several things. So we've got the Silver State Self-Advocacy Conference coming up. The Department of Education is putting on a trip conference for the Nevada Trip Program on July 31st, and that's for educators. It's not really for the general public yet, but it's supposed to be very informative for educators and to help them be great supports for students in transition. And at those two conferences, first of all, at the trip conference, Calvin and I are going to be presenting about SILC and the Youth Action Council. And then Calvin and Stacy and Hannah are all three going to be presenting the same or somewhat similar workshop that they presented at April conference last October about legislation and being a good self-advocate and how to go about doing that. And so we're excited about those presentations. And then the Youth Action Council also has been talking about creating some kind of a youth outdoor camp for youth with disabilities in Nevada. And just kind of having it themed for, you know, youth with disabilities, accessibility matters, self-advocacy issues, and opportunities that they have available to them as and we're trying to kind of decide like what ages should it be 16 and up. We're looking at insurance and how that affects that. Or I should say I'm looking into that. I'm looking into how insurance affects, you know, what age group we can allow at this summer camp. I've been to pretty much the only accessible summer camp that is listed on a search engine in Nevada is Potosi Pines Camp. And so I've been out there to tour the grounds. I've talked with the lady out there. I've received some quotes. If we were to have like 20 participants over 2 evenings and meals included and some tie-dye activities and just mix some fun things in with some educational items and some, you know, workshops where some of the youth themselves who are involved, like Leah wants to come and present some information about how to advocate for your health needs and some outdoorsy type of stuff. She hasn't exactly pinpointed it yet, but she's really excited about doing something like that. And so it's not only the Youth Action Council creating this youth camp, they also want to be a big part of organizing what's part of the curriculum there, so to speak. And so they're just having a great time deciding all that stuff. It's taking us a little longer than I expected just because of all the logistics and trying to get all the pieces put in place. But once we are sure when we want to have it and how we want to do it, it shouldn't even be that much money, honestly. I've been looking into it, and I believe our budget that we already have in our account for the Youth Action Council should be able to cover it. And then with volunteers coming in to speak, that shouldn't be an issue. So that's something that's really exciting for them, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow night. And then is there anything else? So we are having Jackie's team from Jack's come and film our presentations at the Silver State Self-Advocacy Conference so that we have actually videos to provide for the TRIP program and also for the independent living community as a whole, or the disability community as a whole, I should say, because my colleague Mel, who is the director of the Idaho SILC, put on a presentation for independent living philosophy in that SILC Congress that I watched her do, and I was so impressed. And I asked her if she would mind coming to do that at the Silver State Self-Advocacy Conference, and we're going to film that. So anyone who isn't able to attend will still be able to access that video once I post that on our website and in our materials. So and possibly if you want, I can actually have, we can have a if it turns out good enough, maybe we can have like a what's it called, like a film day where we can present the film to the disability community out in the public, maybe like we did last time at Betty's Village, and then Zoom it so that everybody across the state can view it as well. That's some options we'll have once we're done with that. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's pretty much. Oh yeah, we do have a couple new members of the Youth Action Council. Leah, who was at our SILC meeting last time, she's also interested in being a SILC member, by the way. She's been really impressive, to me anyway. She's just coming up with all sorts of ideas. She's an entrepreneur. She's starting her own nonprofit. She's working with the disability community. She already does peer support groups. The SILC, I've been able to help her with using our Zoom account to provide some of those peer support groups for her. I haven't personally attended any, but she's been able to use our Zoom account for that. And I appreciate being able to help them out with that, because it's a really great thing that she's doing. She really cares about the disability community and she's really involved. And so I'm excited to say that, even though she introduced herself last time and she wasn't able to make it to this meeting, that she is interested in being a SILC member, and she is also a Youth Action Council member. And she's showing a lot of leadership capabilities as well as the other members have, so we just have a great team. And then Kyson's brother also would like to join the Youth Action Council. So we're excited to join him with him on our meeting this Thursday as well. That's all the Youth Action Council updates that I have.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joy. Mary, can you give us an update on Dee race?
All right. Hey, good
Wait.
afternoon, everybody.
Mary, Dee Dee raised her hand. I think Julie asked her to ask a question first.
Pardon me. Go ahead, Dee Dee.
Dawn, I just wanted you to be aware that we do have several campgrounds here up in the north too. So we have the Presbyterian campgrounds, and we have
thank you, Bryce.
also the 4-H campgrounds up in Truckee.
Have a good rest of your day.
This is Dawn Lyons. Dee Dee, I would love to get that information from you if I can. I know last time you gave me information, it was for a camp that wasn't in Nevada, and we kind of wanted to keep it in the state. But if you have some other suggestions and they're accessible, I'm open to getting quotes from them as well.
Okay, great. I'll send you the info.
Thank you.
Okay. Mary.
Great, thank you.
All right. Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mary Ebolsizer, and I am the executive director for the Southern Nevada Center for Independent Living. And our center provides services in Clark County, Nevada. And with that, what we try to do is keep track of our trends to see what's happening in our corner of the world. This last quarter, we did receive an increase in service requests by 35%, which is interesting because our intakes, the quarter before we had 92, this time we had 88, while the intakes decreased, the service requests increased. So there were more services being requested. Again, the most frequently requested service in Clark County continues to be affordable and accessible housing, and also financial assistance to get into affordable and accessible housing, in addition to assistance locating affordable and accessible housing. So there's a whole trend with a lot of barriers towards getting accessible housing. With that, we were able to place, and we didn't place anyone. What we do is we provide independent living skills training, peer support, training in self-advocacy and advocacy to work with individuals who want to work with us through a plan or not a plan. They don't have to write a plan. We can still provide the services. But so we were able to help approximately 5 individuals transition from homeless situations into permanent community housing. One of them was a small family, and their situation was a little bit different. They needed help transitioning. They were living in an apartment unit that had mold, and the landlord was slow in removing the mold, which was creating some health hazards. We guided them towards a new housing unit complex, and they were able to qualify and able to transition in there. So that was more of a diversion, preventing them from going into an institution. And I think independent living services are amazing because a little bit of support by talking to the landlord and then giving them the time to locate and helping them to locate a new housing complex. They did it themselves, so they're our heroes, and they are living well and healthy at this time. With that, we also assisted several, and it was about 4 or 5 veterans that were transitioned from a rehabilitation facility into veterans transitional housing. And our assistance to them is guiding them and providing them with information. They set up a housing goal. Then we, as well as they, try to locate the affordable and accessible housing. So those are just a small number of individuals that were successful. And while there's many, many, many more, we're thankful to them for being active and working on their goals. And actually, when we gave them leads, they followed up on them. So that is a success that we like to see. Also, we've assisted several individuals with housing applications for the visual and low vision impaired individuals that were applying for the housing that was just newly developed by Blind Connect. And we're so excited to have them in the community. It's just wonderful. So again, the voids and gaps in services in our community continue to be the same. We did show an increase in transportation services. We had a 33% increase in services provided in that capacity. I feel that part of the increase for that is that we were able to get some bus passes and paratransit passes. And now with our homeless community, when they have appointments, we are able to provide them with transportation to get there, at the same time as helping them to apply for their own transportation. And even some of the transportation passes that we've given them were to go and apply or to get information to apply for their own benefits. With that in mind, those are the trends and voids and gaps in Clark County. With that, we'd also like to announce that Disability Awareness Day is coming October 10th from 10 until 2 p.m. All of the SILC is welcome to come. With that, we also would like to announce that, again, that Nevada was chosen by the National Council for Centers for Independent Living. They are located in Washington, D.C., and each year, they select a state where Centene Insurance Services, they're known as Silver Summit here in Nevada, allows medical facilities to apply for a grant to improve the accessibility in their facilities. We were the selected state, and then our sister center, Northern Nevada Center for Independent Living, and SNCIL were honored to do the site reviews and to provide Centene and Nickel with the information that they need to select the candidates who will be the recipients of the grants awarded. We don't know who the winners are yet, but we can say that there were some awesome companies that applied, and that the accessibility that they were requesting for truly showed that they have an eye on the disability community and that they are wanting to be as accessible as possible. So with the review that we were able to do, we were also able to provide them with some other information for perhaps other areas that they could look at for accessibility. So that was a fun project to do. We were delighted to participate. And then I just like to bring notice that we continue to maintain a disaster preparedness sub-website on our website. And we hope that individuals are going in there to look at that website. It has all the counties in Nevada. Our sister center, Northern Nevada Center for Independent Living, and our center partnered to create that site. And it's really cool. You go in there and you click on your county, and you can go through Northern Nevada's center or our center websites and study your county, see if you think we have everything that might be necessary for emergency preparedness. And then also one of my favorites is the emergency preparedness for our companions, whether you have a canine companion, a cat, a parrot, an iguana. They're all our companions. So it's important to be prepared for our companions that provide us with companionship. The rest of the time, they'll be with us there for emergency preparedness. Again, our center will also be presenting at the Nevada Department of Education Summit on July 31st, doing a presentation, and then Mark will announce also that it's a joint presentation to provide information to the educators about what a Center for Independent Living can do, and as to how educators can partner and see us as a partner in the community. We did get some feedback from the CIL 101 training module that was created by all of us jointly that participate in the DIF and the DRIP grant. It was the two centers for independent living, but I read some of the feedback we're getting from the educators, and the feedback that stood out the most, one educator wrote that after studying the module and then taking the exam, she could see how a center for independent living would be a warm handoff referral to some of their students. And she said she was glad to see that it's all not the responsibility of the educators, that they see that there's support out in the community for helping individuals or students with disabilities gain confidence in self-advocacy and get assistance in accessing the benefits that might help them live more independently. And the takeaway that I took away from it was that educators and the teachers are not alone. We're here. The teachers, if they work with us, can focus on educating, and then we can focus on helping the youth transition in other areas, employment, guiding them to both rehab, housing, if they qualify for SSI benefits, and then work at the same time. So there's a lot of benefits, but I'm happy to see teachers seeing that. Since we last met last quarter, I'm also announcing that we had 5 housing workshops. We have housing workshops on site at the center. again, just to support individuals who are seeking affordable and accessible housing. And with that, that wraps up my report today, and thank you. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mark Tatter, I have a question.
Yeah,
Yes, Mark.
That camp, where exact, is that in Mount Charleston that you were talking about, the accessible camp?
I think it's by Pahrump, right, Don?
Yeah, are you talking about the one for the Youth Action Council?
Yeah, what county is that in?
It's actually in Clark County. It's just
Okay,
outside
right.
of Las Vegas. It's on the way to
So,
Pahrump.
so up on that Blue Diamond Mountain.
Yeah, I think it's called
Okay,
Potosi Mountain.
okay. Yeah, I was just
Mountain.
wondering. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's a little higher elevation than Vegas, so it's not as hot in the summer, but we were thinking maybe fall or spring might be best if we have it at the location anyway.
Wait, it gets hot in Las Vegas? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh.
uh,
I'll be here all week. Just joking.
any questions for me? Maybe you shared a lot of really exciting news. It's
Yes, Julie. Thank you,
really
Julie.
fantastic.
Julie, I did want to mention one more thing, if I may.
Yeah,
I noticed when Travis was speaking, he did talk about individuals having to pay to apply for Social Security benefits. And I would just like to share with the council that he is absolutely right. There are lawyers that you can pay to apply for Social Security benefits, but here's some awfully great news that just shows CILs, I think our weakest area is marketing and advertising everything that we do. And that's because we lack a marketing budget, but we're more service oriented. But the news for that is if you go to a center for independent living, we can provide that service at no cost. And if you do go to a lawyer, chances are they can charge you up to 30% of the fund, especially if you have funds that you're owed from previous years. I believe right now they can go back. It used to be you could go back more years, but they just changed it that you get back payments for up to a year. If you get back payments for up to a year, 30% of that goes to the lawyer. If you go to a CIL, with CILs, this is all your money. Take it and set up your life. Anyway, but I did support Travis in that, and then we'll try to do better on letting individuals know that that is a free service at Centers for Independent Living. And thank you, Julie, and thank you to all on the council for listening to my report.
Lord.
Julie, looks like Ace has her hand raised.
It didn't. Ace.
Hi, this is Ace Patrick for the record. Mary and Mark as well. Do you know if the housing unit that's been built for or being built for the blind and low vision community, is that accepting Section 8 housing choice vouchers? Because I know back in the day when Betty's Village had opened up, they were not doing that, or at least not doing that yet. So are they doing that as well?
For the record, this is Mary Evilsizer. When they started the project, Ace, they reached out to me, one of the board members of Blind Connect, and their question was, how do we go about getting HUD vouchers? So I connected them with my connections at HUD, and I believe they are accepting vouchers. But what I can find out for you, Ace, is which vouchers. that they're accepting, because with HUD, there's so many different vouchers, but I can find out and I can get back to you on that. And then if you're interested, or if anyone's interested in applying, we know they're accepting applications right now. And the eligibility is for individuals who are blind and low vision, but there does need to be proof of medical proof for what the low vision is.
This is Ace. Oh, thanks, Mary. I appreciate the information.
Okay, I'll get it back to you, Ace.
Thank you.
Any other? Mark, please give me.
Yeah, this is Dawn Lyons. Sorry, I have my hand raised, but I guess you didn't see it. I wanted to ask Mary, because the Blind Connect housing for the blind, is that the same housing that Evander at once upon a time was telling us that it was going to be housing for employees at Blind Connect, and then they opened it up to the public? Is that what happened?
I believe Vander's on that board, and they did open it up to the public as well.
Oh, okay.
They've been advertising that they're accepting applications from the community.
Awesome. Did you happen to mention how many units it holds?
I believe, and I probably should, I'm going to say this without having verified it, but I believe there were about 100 units. So it wasn't a small complex.
Yeah, I remember seeing the beginning processes of the building and it looked like a big space. So thank you.
It is. And then just so that our council knows and so that we're all educated, okay, this is just a little tidbit on how Nevada works and how the rest of the country works. In other states, if we had really radical SILC members and radical CILs, we would be saying that we don't want segregated housing. In Nevada, we say we'll take anything we can get and we'll defend it. We don't have a lot of options, and I am so proud of Blind Connect for what they did. And then Accessible Space Inc. does the same thing. That's segregated housing. So when you go to national conferences, don't tout that too much. And if anybody says anything to you, say, yes, in Nevada, we support our community the best way that we can. And if that's there, we're gonna invite it with open arms. We'll get into segregation later when we have more housing, but not that we would do that to Blind Connect, never. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. It's okay here in Nevada, just careful when you go to different conferences.
Yeah, I think the challenge, Mary, is that sometimes funding dictates how we can manage that.
Exactly. So.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mark. Let's give Mark the floor.
So my turn, is that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Mary. That you guys always have so much to say. It's a shame I have to go after you.
Oh,
Um,
I feel intimidated going before you. You have such a
no,
wonderful
no, no, no.
speaking voice.
Okay. So I'm Mark Tatter. I'm the new executive director here at the Northern Nevada Center. Our turf, so to speak, is the rest of Nevada. So all the counties, we got a lot of places we go, a lot of people we talk to from all over the state. Um, the big news is, of course, me becoming the Center for Independent Living's director here, which means a lot of transition stuff, which is a great word. But in this case, it means changing bank account signings, grants, insurance, everything, and learning how it all works. I've been the associate director for 3 years now, and I covered mostly the blind and low vision program, but often people have multiple disabilities, and I've been working doing outreach. So one of the things I've had to do is reach out to a lot of different organizations that we work with, some that maybe I've never worked with before, and introducing myself and making sure that we're available to work together for projects. So that's been a lot of fun. I've been on the phone. I have to remember to plug the phone in because it dies in the middle of phone calls all the time now on me because I'm on the thing all the time. We've also had a lot of a lot of outreach going on. There's been a number of events we've attended. The Nye County community event, which was, I think that was in May. That seemed like years ago, but we were down in Pahrump for that. It's a wonderful event. Met some great folks, including the person who runs Social Security as the public officer, information officer, and I'm going to bring her up in a second. Today, our rural coordinator is out in Tonopah at their northern part of the Nye County community event because that's one of the biggest counties in the country. So she's out there at that event meeting with everybody, including their education folks, uh, which we'll talk about in a second with the TRIP grant, which is something we're also involved in. Um, so we've been doing our biggest new thing that really has been accelerating. It's always housing. It's all about that. But we've had a real growth in people when the leases come up, either not wanting to renew them with people with disabilities so that they can just simply skip the whole bargaining process because they all want to raise the rent by a couple hundred or more dollars per month. Reno and Sparks were both listed as two of the boom towns in the United States on a recent, I think it was Forbes magazine list. And it's really true. They have our road in front of our building shut down because of the traffic that's destroyed the road. So people are having to drive through the neighborhood because this is just such a booming, happening place, which is great for some people. It's not great for people with a set income. So that is what our advocates are spending their time. This is spilled over into Fernley, of course, a little bit of Fallon, and of course Carson and Gardnerville and everywhere else nearby. So we're having to do a lot of teaching self-advocacy for people, and we're just having to come up with finding funding to help people both move into new places that are more affordable. The Reno housing folks opened up their list for like 20 minutes. And so a whole crop of people had to be moved and helped. We had to find a lot of help for people to move into accessible housing, having moved out of accessible housing that might, for all I know, not be accessible housing choices anymore as the housing prices continue to rise here in the North. That's been our big thing. Along with that, we've had a big surge in a number of people who need help getting into and accessing different federal accounts. Of course, the taxes was the thing, but now it's mysocialsecurity.com. So we've become experts at helping get people signed into that. We're setting up some programs for August where we're going to have people presenting SSI and how to sign up for SSDI and some of the things that you can do with those programs. We're probably going to have one here at our center just to be expedient, but we're looking at Fernley and Carson City as well because there's a demand request for that kind of help and information. And hopefully we can involve the state press officer as well, Annie, who's great. She actually came to the National Federation of the Blind meeting in Pahrump at the end of May, did a fantastic job. People down there were just overjoyed with the information she provided. And if we can organize getting her, that might be a good guest to bring on here. She's I don't want to say anything other than she tells you what the story is. That's all I can say since she works for the government. Um, and then transportation has been a bit of an issue. There was some changes in different places, including Washoe and Carson City, and how transportation is provided. We've helped with training self-advocates, but also talking to people in command and control of these things to express our view on their change and interest in going from door to curb service in Washoe County and the impacts that would be felt by people. We've also been working with RSVP, which is a rural nonprofit that provides volunteers with stipends to give rides. They've recently moved into Churchill County in Fallon. So we've been helping with them and also advising our consumers out there about this new service. We've also been doing some technical services and providing help, for example, with the Churchill County Museum, which if you ever get out there, they have a great museum. It's physically accessible. We were able to contact them and talk to them about making it more accessible for sensory. So both low vision, blind, deaf, if they have, for example, some videos that they want to show, making sure they have transcripts, both written and closed caption. It's a great museum and it's a wonderful partnership. They're very much trying to do the right thing, and we're here to help them. So there's many other things that we've helped with that kind of thing. But I want to talk a little bit about our consumers. Our consumers are feeling a lot of anxiety. We've tried to increase as much peer support as we can to get people together. There's been a lot of pressure put upon people with disabilities in this country lately, as you all know. And we're finding that if we get people together with peer support groups, we just had our largest blind, low vision group down in Carson City in 5 years. Uh, was that yesterday? Yesterday. And tomorrow we're having our Reno Sparks event, and we're looking at probably 45 or 50 people attending that one. These are great groups. They help people talk and share information, but also get together and realize there's a group here and we're a movement and that they can talk to each other. We've been working with different teachers groups across the state, thanks to the TRIP grant. Just to add on what Mary was talking about, each county is rolling out into this program, and I was asked to be a person to review the module on independent living and SILS, and it's really great. I think I mentioned this before, but it's it's both accessible, but also the materials are fantastic. And the feedback I've gotten and what I found personally was that it really explains it very well. I'll be presenting along with Minerva, who's a Southern Nevada staff member who's excellent. We always seem to work together and present everywhere. And we're going to be addressing those educators up in Lake Tahoe at the end of this month. I'm really looking forward to getting their feedback and answering any questions about it because it really shows the handoff from transitioning students from high school out into the world. It could be a college, be it, just living independently, and that kind of thing. And we're also, I'm not sure who in the group is going to Nickel, the NCIL event that's in, I think, 10 days. But I'm not looking forward to that because I know how hot it gets in Washington, D.C. in the middle of July. And I don't know why they do it then. But I'll wear a t-shirt maybe. Um, but we're going to be talking about a lot of things having to do with the increased pressure being put upon independent living services, and finding out more information so that I can bring it back for those of you who won't be there with me to talk about these things and what can be done and how we can continue to improve and do the things that we do that help people live the lives they want, um, and keep the program afloat, keep it going as strong as it's been. Um, I think that's about it. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Question.
Sure.
It says, does anyone have any questions? I don't see any hands. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
John, when does the commissioner need another break?
Um, a short one would be nice, maybe another 10 minutes.
We do that now. Yeah. Or, what, let's let TD go. And then we'll take a 2-minute break. D,
You want me to go now?
yeah, let's go now and then we'll take a break.
Okay, I'm Dee Dee Formaster. I'm the executive director for the Rural Center for Independent Living. We cover Carson, Lyon, Story, Douglas, and also the Elko area. And we provide resources for people in that area. We have a support group which is growing every single day in leaps and bounds. Um, and our recreation program is going exceedingly well. Our peer support is linked with recreation. Um, and yes, Mark is correct in the fact that there is definitely a lot of anxiety out there for people with disabilities. And also have seen a lot of anxiety with the people who are on the streets in the local areas. The 20 hours per week volunteer thing that they're having people do has been rather daunting for a lot of people. Um, other than our recreation and our peer support, which is growing, we also have a lot of, I mean, not just a little, I mean a lot, on all of the streets in Carson City. They're redoing the Highway 50 corridor to make it more accessible. So we've been doing an immense amount of ADA things because they, of course, are trying to build on both sides of this, or trying to do construction on both sides of the streets so that people are wandering out in the traffic because they are not putting up sidewalk signs. So we have had to increase our oversight in those areas. So we've been doing a lot of that. I'm involved, of course, with the transportation board, and they are starting in the North Carson area next. After they get the Highway 50 area done, they're also tearing up the other main street that goes from, well, main corridor that goes from west to east and east to west, which is 5th Street. They're putting some sidewalks in there. So it will be wonderfully accessible when they're done, but right now it's a total and complete wreck, and it's really hard to get around. And we also have been working towards getting people into housing, which is what, we focus on a lot. And we have been able to help 2 people this quarter to transition from a rehab into community housing. And so they're both off out of the rehab and into their homes and doing quite well. And one client who is still having some adjustment problems due to his limb being replaced by a prosthetic, and he's having trouble still getting around. So we're in close contact with him, still working with him. I've had some criminal justice situations that we've advocated for also this quarter. And we have also worked very diligently to make sure that people who are residing in their apartments can remain there when their leases are up. So we've worked hard on that. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at right now. I'll hand things over to my sidekick, Margaret. Are you there, Margaret?
I am here. I've been doing a lot of ADA stuff. I have lists and lists and lists of stuff that we're working on to try to get fixed from a lot of the county entities. And they are laughing hysterically, except I tell them don't laugh because it might come back to get you one day. And when I say that with a smile. And Don and Dee Dee both know why. I've been working with Veterans Corp. We're trying to find a service dog trainer. We're working on trying to get a grant because that is very, 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 very important to all of us. And so it's just a matter of finding somebody. We have somebody who can, but she needs to be trained. In fact, she called me this morning. I lost my service dog of 14 years. And she says, by the way, I have one for you. Would you like this young lady? And I said, no, thank you. I'm not ready to have another dog. However, the dog's come to visit me a couple of times and she's not going to work out. So I found another family that will take this trained service dog. Her mommy passed away, had a sudden heart attack, and I knew the dog and I knew the mom. So it was very hard this morning. I've been working with the veterans like crazy and one of the things I do on Wednesdays is I go over to the VFW pantry and we let people get food that we have, clothing, anything that they need, because Fish is kind of a stickler about what they will and will not do. We do not even bat an eye when we give that to them. Any of my people, or any of the people that I know that need food, they get food. We have medical equipment that we're lending out now too, so it makes it really nice that I can do that. I've been working with people trying on getting their disability things. In fact, even our people at the main office at Social Security have been absolutely fabulous at working with these people. It's a matter of just going in and asking, and she's been fabulous. Even though there's a grouch at the door, he's not too bad to work with either. My support groups are growing. We're working on getting some support group for people with disabilities. There's also a new 20 house housing unit. It's an FDA unit. It will be ready. They told me it won't be ready until like the first of the year. They're really nice. I've been watching the progress. And Silver Summit and Care Source are here in Elko, and I have clients that I've been making sure that they get rides to get to the doctors, and even taking clients to Reno. They've been really scared about calling and stuff like that. It's a matter of prodding and just making things do things like that. Other than that, I've been keeping myself busy, let me tell you.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to take a 10-minute break. So we're going to time. Welcome back. Next is update from our legislative educator, Stephen Wright.
This is Dawn Lyon. Sorry, I had trouble unmuting for a second there. Margaret, did RCIL already have those discussions and get that started, or are you still in the process of um getting that started because of the subaward lateness? In other words, Margaret, did you have an update yet, or is it still in progress?
I think Margaret, she's still on because there's lightning and thunderstorms out there right now, and it's getting a little dicey.
Okay.
So maybe you might want to call her.
Okay, well, maybe Dee Dee. We're just trying to figure it out if there is an established legislative educator yet, or if that's still a work in progress.
As far as I know, we're still working on it, but hopefully it'll be taken care of soon.
Great.
Okay,
That's what I thought. Thanks.
okay, in that case,
This is Margaret Marcucci. Stephen's on for the record if you want to hear from him. He's been on. I've been talking back and forth with him.
Margaret, this is Dawn. Is it something that's been established already? Is that Stephen is going to be the legislative educator and he knows what that entails, or is it still a work in progress? And
It's a work in progress.
I don't want to
It
put him
is.
on the spot if he wasn't
Okay.
prepared.
Well, that's what I told him and if he wants to, he can let me know. As I said, we've been doing that. He wanted to listen. He's been really good about finding out what's been going on and stuff like that. And that life's finally calmed down. Maybe the rest of this week I can get a hold of everybody so we can get everything taken care of. Okay? Dee Dee and I were talking about that too.
So this is unofficial report. Stephen, if you wanted to share anything,
Yeah.
you can. If not, that's fine too. Just let us know.
Sure, Stephen Cohen for the record. So the short answer is work sessions begin 7:31 and run through 8:27, and those are the committee um, meetings, the interim legislative committee meetings where they decide which bill draft requests or BDRs, as you're probably going to hear them referred to a million times over, they're going to put forward to the legislature. The deadlines for most, if not all of those committees have passed already or will soon pass. But individual legislators, I was looking and trying to confirm the date range earlier in the meeting. The first 103 BDRs are now posted to Nellis, but they're in typical fashion. They're like, revises provisions related to education, revises provisions related to employment. Well, that tells us a lot. Um, August 1st is the initial deadline for folks that are seeking to pursue existing legislators, incumbents. I think it's December 10th is the second round for incumbents, and then also, which there will be a few, as there are every cycle, new legislators that'll be sworn in when the session begins in February. And then I believe each legislator, both incumbent and new, gets one that they get to hold back for the first month of the session. Uh, but the nice thing is if your legislator is in leadership in their respective house, they get more. Uh, and then chairs and vice chairs get more as well. I think it's 1 to 18. So if say if HHS, for example, got 90 bills referred to it last session, they would get an extra five. The chair would get an extra five BDRs that she would be able to put forward. I'm not sure if it's on behalf of the committee or individually. But it's going to be, as Mark kind of alluded to earlier, it's going to be a fun session. Probably 90% about Medicaid would be my guess. Uh, and kind of just a really scary time out there right now. I don't know if folks saw a couple of weeks ago the opinion from the Office of Legal Counsel, which is the federal advisory, whatever they are, the counsel to the president, I think it is, or whatever the fancy uh, term is, that basically said that Olmsted didn't say what it said it was, what it did, um, pretty much leaving this as neutral as possible. Everything that comes out of the administration from second to second disgusts me. We're kind of trying to set back uh, all the work that's been done by SILs, by state rehab councils. I know we have on the call, uh, ADSD as well. All the organizations that put together DD councils as well. All the organizations, both public and private sector, that kind of put the pieces together in the disability world. Kind of should be up in arms. But when you only meet once a quarter, it's kind of difficult to do that. And I think one of the things that probably should be looked at in October is placeholder meetings for session, and or appointing somebody to, whether it be you, Dawn, or somebody else, to be able to speak on behalf of the SILC during session, because that's the guidance that the DAG has put out for all boards and commissions, not just the SILC. Because sometimes you can get a BDR at 11 o'clock at night, literally. I mean, and it's being heard at 8 o'clock the next morning. I mean, that's literally how session works. So it's just, like I said, it's going to be fun, and hopefully there will be more than 6 or 10 of us, whatever it works out to be. I mean, there's folks that kind of show up when there's BDRs of interest, but then there's 6 of us or so that track, and there's 1,300 BDRs, and you're tracking like 1,000 of them. There's quite the group text that go back and forth. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it, both federal and state. Are there
Thanks.
any questions?
Yeah, Stephen, this is Dawn Lyons. That's what I believe our CIL is getting together with the other CILs and deciding how to direct your time as the legislative educator to do
Okay,
is be the voice of our independent living network, basically. And I think that's what they're going to do anyway. But
okay,
hopefully that'll work out, because with me working on the spill amendment and the next 3-year spill at the same time right now, I've got my hands a little bit full. So
sure.
I can't exactly, but that's not saying we can't have our legislative subcommittee meeting. If something comes up, we could potentially schedule one, but
Yeah.
so far we haven't had any. And I'm glad you brought up the Olmsted issue, because that was something that I was going to bring up later in when we talked about our current spill and our progress. And because part of that was us analyzing or evaluating the current Olmsted plan in our state. And it just leads right into the whole Olmsted itself, and the potentiality of that not being a thing anymore is just appalling, like you said. And so I wanted to bring that up then. But if anybody has, I suppose now is as good as any time to discuss that if we wanted to, unless you wanted to wait until we talk about our our progress of our state plan, but it's relevant. It's very relevant, and you're right. We need to talk about that.
Mark Taylor?
Yeah, right. Mark,
Thanks. I hear what you're saying, Stephen. Thank you for what you're doing. Yeah, I think can we possibly schedule some placeholder meetings so that we comply with open meeting law and whatnot around those dates, both in August, and then I guess the December date as well. I think we should talk about it, and I think we should talk about someone who can speak on behalf of IL in particular. And then also, I know the DD Council folks in the past have made a list available that would be circulated among disability groups for things pertaining to disability. But I think making sure that we make sure independent living is part of that discussion too, um, because it all applies, you know. So I think that's a great idea because we don't want to violate open meeting law. Thank
So
you.
this is Dawn. Mark, let me just make sure I'm clear on what you're asking here. Do you want the SILC to facilitate like a subcommittee meeting for those, or did you want the IL network to go ahead and get that together and someone from SILC can represent our
Well, I
county
think
on that?
I think just to discuss IL legislative stuff, that would be right in the purview of the subcommittee, I think. So having that group just have an available meeting. If not, if we don't need to, then it could be just postponed or canceled, I guess. But you know, the way it works is you got to have that meeting on the books. You can't just call an ad hoc one the same day. Um, so I don't know if that's what you were getting at, Stephen, but I think that would be a good idea so that we do have that forum if available. Um, that's what I was going for, Don.
Madam Chair, if I might, real quick. So the deadlines to approach folks are those two dates,
Yeah,
not to decide what we're going to pursue.
right.
The time to pursue stuff was June, whatever the day after session ended last time.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, more
I
to
would say
act
a lot of the
upon
work happens
legislative.
during the interim, is really what it comes down to. So, like I said, August 1st is the deadline to approach legislators and have them submit their first batch of BDRs for those that are incumbents. So I think that we're kind of up against a creek at this point because it's what, mid-July already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think it might be a better platform for the IL network in general, just to kind of get together behind the scenes and have maybe a person from Silk show up to kind of represent the council and bring information back as far as what's decided to do regarding approaching legislators or who might do that and what they might say. Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Yeah. And then also, Madam Chair, if you'd like, I can also give a 20 odd minute rundown or probably less than that on the process and kind of being successful, which would kind of be a repeat if you guys are going to the self-advocacy conference. We're putting a storytelling spin on it for the conference, but I think you kind of have to understand the process as a foundation in order to utilize those skills. And that our presentation, I think, is August 3rd from 11:15 to 12:15. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, there will be no virtual option for it. Um, so if you guys are going to the conference, decide once the program becomes available, decide which sessions you're going to. Because there's a lot of good information coming out.
Yeah, I'll be there, Stephen. Is there someone from Silk right now that would like to speak up about being present at a quick meeting about what could be done on behalf of the IL community and our network before that August 1st deadline? Dee Dee, do you have something to say, Dee Dee?
I'd be happy to run over if I need to the legislature at any point, at any time. If you need me to do that, I certainly can do that because I'm right here.
I was gonna say it makes it pretty convenient, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm happy to do whatever I can do. because it's so important that we are represented. And I think that all the CILs and the information that we have spread throughout the legislature last session really went well, and I'm always available to help at any time.
I appreciate
Thanks.
that, Dee Dee. Honestly, I think what set us back was having to wait for just knowing how much money we were working with and when we would get it and how that would be distributed was a major setback for us as far as our timeline goes. But I think we can manage this if we do some things finagling behind the scenes and you're willing to help. So if you need me, let me know. I can offer what I've got as far as, you know, the SILC's official statements or position statements, things like that. So
Yeah, I'm happy to help with whatever is needed because, like I said, it's important that we're represented.
And managers, one last thing real quick. It's summer, so a lot of folks are on vacation, even if they're not. And I don't know, and perhaps Dee Dee, if you would be willing to find this out. I don't know if, I know the South does, but I'm not sure about the North, if they have meeting space, like individual one-to-one meeting space that is assigned during the interim. I know it's, of course, during regular session, they all have their individual rooms. Um, but one of the things I think is important is to find your sponsors. So, like, for example, housing has come up a bunch of times. So find your Fair Housing Alliance. Like, for example, I just got a request from Northern Nevada last night on housing rights for being able to move from a second floor apartment to a first floor apartment when there's no elevator. So, Mark, we'd love to chat with you offline about that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's just so much that needs to be done for housing. It's insanity how much needs to be done.
I'd like to make sure we have
I have my hand up, Julie.
I see. But I want to make sure we
it's
have
three
time.
it's 3:40. I think if we stop at 3:55 for public comment, we'll be okay.
It's John gonna be here tomorrow.
John, are you able to make it tomorrow?
That's my concern.
You bet.
Right.
Okay, so you'll be first
Okay.
tomorrow. Okay, then let's continue.
Okay. This is Margaret Marcucci for the record.
Yeah.
I can get a hold of Bert Gurr and John Ellison. In fact, we had a problem over here at 4th of July, and Bert and I sat down and we met each other. So I'll find out if they're going to be available and when they're going to be, and let you guys know, let Stephen know. Okay? That's an easy proposition.
Ace. Ace.
Hey, this is Ace real quick, just my 2 cents worth when you're talking about housing and moving from like a third floor or second floor to a first of a ground level floor when there's no elevator available. When I lived in a couple of housing apartments here up in Washoe County, for some reason, those of us on the bottom floor were being charged more than the units that were on the second, third floor. And I don't know if there's any way we can affect change in that way so that people with disabilities who need a bottom floor are not being charged more rent than because you can't get to a second or third floor.
It's a new
So,
one on me.
so that's something I guess that maybe when the IL network team meets to talk about who's going to go, maybe, or what if Dee Dee's the one to go to a legislator or Margaret or whoever goes, what they're going to say and to whom, maybe it's something you guys can kind of discuss if there's something you want to address in that regard as well. Or if you can address it in that regard, I'm not sure.
And then, Madam Chair, just sorry, real quick, Dawn, would you be willing to send out a doodle poll for us to get together? And then would it be possible to borrow your Zoom account rather?
Of course, I'm willing to help out any way I can. I want to make sure that we don't create a quorum issue with
Oh,
SILC so that, that we're not breaking open meeting law. But if I have to start it and then leave, I can, or whatever I have
yeah,
to do,
got it.
So yeah, I can do that.
That's good.
Just to throw it out there, since we have a couple more minutes, is there any particular date times that work for the IL network that wants to get together here? I'm talking the CILs and you, Stephen, or are there times that don't work for you guys so that I can kind of take a mental note when I send out the doodle poll?
In the lead up, this is Stephen for the record, in the lead up to the HHS work session in particular, it's just going to be all over the place. You never know when you're going to get a request from HHS staff. Hey, what does this mean? What does that mean? So, but the work session in particular, just to give folks some perspective, is August 11th at 9. And that'll be simulcast in the usual ways. So we should have the agenda 4 days before, typically is what they do. They're a day ahead of the game, 4 business days ahead of the meeting, whatever that works out to. And the other, now that I'm thinking about it, the one meeting that has been scheduled, and Don, I'll make sure you have this, if not before the end of the day, first thing in the morning, is the SB 185, the paid parental caregiver work group. Medicaid has finally established that their first meeting is 2 weeks from tomorrow, I do believe it is. So I think that's something we'll kind of want to keep an eye on, just because a lot of folks could become homebound trying to take care of their loved ones or unable to work, things like that. And it just like I said, it's a troubling time right now.
So I guess the busiest of all of you is Mark, probably. So Mark, are there times that work better for you that I can include in the doodle poll?
Sunday night at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thursdays are not good for me. Monday mornings are fine if that works for you guys. Tuesdays are tough. Wednesdays are tough. And Friday I'm just not available at all. So yeah, I mean, just spread it around. I can move stuff too, but I do want to be involved for sure.
Great, thank you.
This is Margaret Marcucci. No Wednesday mornings, please, because I'm at the VFW and I can't change that. I'm voluntold, but I have to be there for my people.
Okay.
This is Mary Evilsizer for the record. I'd like to be involved in this, representing the CIL from the South. On Tuesday mornings from 8 to 10, I have standing meeting, and then Thursdays, I have standing meetings from 11 to 12. Mondays, standing meeting from 10 to 12. But just spread it around like Mark said, and then I'll do what I can. Some of those I can work with and some I can't.
Okay, so
Thank
far
you.
I'm hearing Sunday night at 4 o'clock. I'm just kidding. So far I'm hearing Monday mornings might work best for everybody before 10.
That sounds good.
Okay.
And 8 o'clock is okay with me too. So I don't know how other people feel about that, but anytime between 8 and 10.
Mayor, Stephen, for the record, Mary's funding the donuts and coffee. No, I'm just kidding.
The virtual
Over
donuts.
Zoom. Yeah, the virtual donuts. Thanks, Mark.
You got
I'll
it.
take 3. All right. I think we're done with this conversation. I can go ahead and send that poll out and everything, and I can read the preamble if we're ready to move on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's funny to hear everyone's enthusiasm. So thank you. Okay, preamble.
Okay. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. To provide public comment telephonically, dial 1-253-215-8782. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, enter 929-904-1434 and passcode 707401. Comments will be allowed at the beginning and end of each day and will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Persons making comments will be asked to begin by stating their name for the record and to spell their last name and provide the secretary with written comments.
Julie,
Yeah.
this is Mary. I have my hand up, but I don't see it on my computer.
Yeah, I just called you.
She just called on you, Mary.
Oh, thank you, Julie. Excuse me for that. Just really quickly, I wanted to share with everyone. Okay, the Blind Connect. Okay, for the record, this is Mary Evilsizer, MaryEvilSicvr. The Blind Connect's new housing units are called Vision Parks. There are 99 units that will be available. Right now, there's openings for 52 units. And it is considered public housing. What that means is that the HUD voucher comes with the unit. So if someone had a housing choice voucher, that would mean that if they apply and get into this complex, they would give up their housing choice voucher, which is more valuable because you have the option to transfer, but it's still a choice. And so the units themselves are amazing. They have audio tactile walkways, accessible lighting systems. They do come fully furnished. And the reason for that, here in the South, we do have a lot of problems with a lot of the projects and bed bugs. So what they're doing is providing everything up front. And then there's also going to be on-site support services, including job training, assistive technology, food assistance, and peer mentoring. And qualifying households must earn between 30 and 40% of the area median income. And then applications can be submitted online and by phone or in person at 1001 North Bruce Street. And if anyone wants more information, just search Blind Center Visions Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
We're able to put that in the chat to the blind, is it Blind Center Visions Park?
You know what? Let me copy paste all this, Control C, and let me make a chat for everyone.
Thanks. And then
And
I can share that link later too via email.
oh, that would be great. And then 52 of them are available now. So, but I will share the applications come in fast. So if anyone's interested, okay, here we go. Send. There you go. Send. It's
Thank
not
you.
sending. Okay. Send. Thank you. That was my comment. Thank you, Julie.
Julie Weissman for the record. I just want to thank everyone for having confidence in me to elect me as chair. And I'm excited that it's back. Like I said, the band is back together. I think we're gonna do good things this year.
Oh, I know we are.
Thank you.
This is Dawn Lyons. Just for the record, I would like to say thank you for all of the members of SILC for being here for every meeting, for being here to help us have those hard conversations and make that progress that we've been making, because without you, the disability community would fall short of what we need to be. So I really appreciate all of you, and I'm really happy to be a part of this team again. Or still, I should say, still.
This is Ace Patrick for the record. I echo what Julie just said, and thank you again for your confidence in me as well for voting me in as vice chair. And I look forward to working with everyone again. And thank you again, Dawn, for inviting me to be back with the council again. And I think I'm looking forward to the next year. I also want to say thank you to all of the people from the public, people who gave presentations today. Also the centers, the executive directors, everybody that's working so hard for us. I know that we've got some tough times coming ahead, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this community.
Oh, yeah. Any other comment? I don't see anything. So I call this meeting adjourned till tomorrow at 1 o'clock.